Hello everyone, myself is Dr. Vinay Kumar PN. I'm a faculty of mathematics from Sri HDD Government First Grade College, Padvalaippe. Today we are going to discuss about rank and nullity theorem. Before that, we are going to discuss some preliminaries. To start with, first we discuss about linear transformation. What is meant by linear transformation? A mapping T from one vector space U into another vector space V, where U and V are vector spaces over the field F, is said to be linear if it satisfies following two conditions. The first one is the image of U1 plus U2 under the mapping T must be same as the sum of image of U1 under the mapping T and image of U2 under the mapping T for all U1, U2 belongs to domain U. And the second condition is the image of C into U1 under the mapping T should be same as C into image of U1 under the mapping T, where U1 is coming from U and C is a scalar coming from field F. If these two conditions are satisfied, then we say T is a linear transformation. We can generalize this one by considering n vectors from domain and n scalars from field F. If C1 U1 plus C2 U2 etc. up to Cn Un is a linear combination of scalars and vectors, then image of this should satisfy this. If it is linear, then it will satisfy. Now, what is meant by a range of a linear transformation? If T is a linear transformation from U to V, then the range set is given by the collection of all images, that is, the collection of all codomain elements, those codomain elements which are having mapping from domain. That means if you say any element is present in R of T, then it has to have a mapping from domain elements, that is collection of all T of U, where U is a mapping where U is a domain element. So T of U is the image of U under the mapping T. And you should note that the elements T of U are present in V. Therefore, all the elements of R of T are present in V. Therefore, R of T is always subset of codomain. And in fact, we are going to prove that R of T is subspace of V. That's why R of T is called as range space of T. And what is meant by kernel of a linear transformation or null space of a linear transformation? Suppose T is a mapping from U to V is linear, then the kernel of a linear transformation is nothing but collection of all domain elements, those domain elements whose image is 0, where 0 is the 0 vector of codomain. That means n of T is nothing but collection of all U, where U is an element from domain and those elements whose image under the mapping T, that is T of U, is equal to 0. And you should note that all the elements of n of T are coming from U. Therefore, n of T is always a subset of domain. And in fact, we are going to prove that in future, n of T is subspace of U. And this subspace is called as null space of T. So you should remember your range space is subspace of codomain and null space is subspace of domain. Next, we are going to see this theorem. The theorem says if T is a linear transformation from U to V, then R of T is a subspace of V and N of T is a subspace of U. And further, T is 1, 1 if and only if null space contains only 0 vector of domain. First, we'll see what is meant by subspace and we'll prove that R of T is subspace of V. We knew that any vector is said to be a subspace of, any set of vectors is said to be a subspace of vector space. First, this set should be non-empty. Second thing, R of t should be subset of this vector space set. And the third condition is, take any two elements, any two vectors from this set and two scalars, then their linear combination. For example, say V1 and V2 are any two elements of R of t, and C1, C2 are any two field elements, scalars, then their linear combination, C1 into V1 plus C2 into V2, must be again in R of t. If these two conditions are satisfied, then if these three conditions are satisfied, then R of t is a subspace of V. We'll prove that. We knew that R of t is nothing but collection of all images, those elements which are having mapping from domain. Now you should note that T is a linear transformation, and if it is a linear transformation, image of the additive identity of domain should be additive identity of codomain. So if 0 is because U is a vector space, it is a abelian group under addition, so it will have additive identity 0. Image of that 0 must be equal to 0, where this 0 is the 0 vector of codomain. So we have proved T of 0, in the earlier results we have proved T of 0 equal to 0. So, but we know that any image comes in R of t. Therefore, T of 0 comes in R of t. But T of 0 is nothing but 0. Therefore, 0 comes in R of t. Therefore, R of t contains at least one element. Hence, R of t is non-empty. And clearly, we knew that all the images are present in codomain. Therefore, all the elements of R of t are present in codomain. Therefore, R of t is subset of V. Now we'll prove the third condition. Let V1 and V2 be any two elements of range set R of t. But we knew that any element which is present in R of t must have a mapping from domain, and it should be of this form. So let us assume that there exist two vectors u1 and u2 in domain which are mapped onto V1. That is, but we know that image of u1 is T of u1 and image of u2 is T of u2, and we are saying T of u1 is equal to V1 and T of u2 is equal to V2. Now we have to show that the linear combination of C1 and C1 C2 and V1 V2 belongs to R of t. That is C1 V1 plus C2 V2 belongs to R of t. Now for all V1 V2 belongs to R of t and C1 C2 from field F, we have C1 V1 plus C2 V2. You should note that if you want to say this vector belongs to R of t, then it should be of this form. That means there must be a domain element which is having image, and that image should be of the form T of this. So we have to write this one in the form T of some element where that element comes from U. You should note that your V1 and V2 are T of U1 and T of U2. Substitute them here. Then you're going to get C1 into T of U1 plus C2 into T of U2. And you should note that your T is a linear transformation. That given the hypothesis that T is a linear transformation. And we knew that if T is a linear transformation, now you restrict yourselves to only two vectors, then T of C1 U1 plus C2 U2 will be equal to C1 into T of U1 plus C2 into T of U2. So C1 into T of U1 plus C2 into T of U2 can be written as T of C1 U1 plus C2 U2. When they are given right hand side, you can write left hand side. When they are given left hand side, you can write right hand side. So I'm using the left hand side. Therefore, since T is linear, I can write this as T of C1 U1 plus C2 U2. Now this is of the form T of U. But the question is this vector belongs to U? Because R of t contains the images where those elements should, the image of that element where this element should come from domain. You should note that your u1 is a vector in U and c1 is a scalar. So scalar into a vector should again come in U. Therefore c1 u1 comes in U. c2 into u2, which again comes in U, and U is a abelian group. Therefore their sum also comes in U. Therefore this is an element in U, and your c1 v1 plus c2 v2 is nothing but t of a vector of U. And you know that t of any vector of U comes in R of t. Therefore this comes in R of t. Therefore c1 v1 plus c2 v2 comes in R of t. For all v1 v2 belongs to R of t and c1 c2 belongs to F. Therefore all the conditions of subspaces are satisfied. Hence R of t is subspace of V. In the same lines we'll prove N of t is subspace of U. Now you should note that your N of t is nothing but a collection of all domain elements. Those elements whose image under the mapping T is zero vector of codomain. And since T is a linear transformation, we knew that image of 0 is 0. Therefore, we are having image of a vector of U, because 0 is a additive identity of U, whose image is 0. This is of this form. Therefore, 0 belongs to N of T. Hence, N of t contains at least one element. Therefore, N of t is non-empty. And you should note that your N of t contains U, and all those U are coming from U. Therefore, all the elements of N of t are coming from U. Therefore, N of t is subset of U. You know the definition of subset or subset. If all the elements of this set are present in this, then this is a subset. So that is what. Now, we have to show that N of t satisfies the third condition. What is that? Take any two vectors of N of t and any two scalar, their linear combination. Say if u1, u2 are coming from N of t and c1, c2 are coming from field F, then their linear combination, that is c1 u1 plus c2 u2, should also come in N of t. That is the required condition to say that it is a subspace. Now, let us consider two vectors u1, u2 from N of t. But you should note that your N of t is always subset of U. And you know that any vector which belongs to N of t satisfies the condition image of that vector is 0. Therefore, image of u1 under the mapping T is 0 and image of u2 is also 0. And since you are taking your u1, u2 from N of t, they also belongs to U. And you should note that if c1, c2 are any two field elements, u1, u2 are any two vectors of U, then their linear combination c1, u1 plus c2, u2 also come in U, because U is a vector space. Therefore, your c1, u1 plus c2, u2 comes in U. This condition is valid. Only thing we have to show that image of that element is 0. That is, T of c1, u1 plus c2, u2 must be equal to 0. Now you should note that your T is a linear transformation. Therefore, I can write this as C1 into T of U1 plus C2 into T of U2. But we knew that T of U1 is 0 and T of U2 is also 0. So you multiply this and you will get 0. Therefore, we have shown image of C1 U1 plus C2 U2 is 0, where C1 U1 plus C2 U2 belongs to U. Hence, your C1 U1 plus C2 U2 is an element of N of T. Thus, all the conditions of subspace are satisfied. Hence, N of T is subspace of domain. So, we have proved range space is subspace of codomain and N of T is subspace of domain. Now, let's prove the third condition. What is that? We have to show that T is 1 to 1 if and only if N of T contains only 0 vector. Now, let us prove this way. Assume that T is 1, 1. Then we have to show that N of T contains only 0 vector. So, let us assume that there is a vector U in N of T. But we know that we have to show that N of T contains only 0. So, your U has to be 0. So, we have to show that our U will be simply 0. There is no other element other than 0 in this. If we show that U equal to 0, then we are through. Okay, let's prove this in. So since you are saying your U is an element in N of T, and you know that N of T contains those elements whose image is 0. Therefore, image of U is 0. And we know that since T is a linear transmission, your T of 0 is equal to 0. So I can write this 0 as T of U is equal to T of 0. But remember, your T is 1 to 1. Ray. ಸುಮ್ಮನಿರೋ ಮಾರ ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮಾಡಬೇಡ. Remember, your T is 1 to 1. What is the meaning of T is 1 to 1? If any two images are equal, then the corresponding element should be equal. So because T is 1, 1 and these two images are equal, therefore corresponding element should be equal. That means U must be equal to 0. So we have proved that you take any element of N of T, it is always 0. So N of T contains only 0 element. We have proved this. Now let's prove the converse. What is that? Suppose N of T contains only 0 vector. Then we have to show that T is 1 to 1. We knew that T is 1 to 1 provided if any two images are equal, then we have to show that those two elements are equal. So let us assume any two images are equal, that is T of U1 is equal to T of U2 for some element U1 in U2 in U. Then we have to show that U1 is equal to U2. If we show that U1 is equal to U2, then T is 1 to 1. But send this one to this side, that is minus T of U2. And we knew that there is a property which says that we can take this inside the linear transformation. So by that, this is of the form C into T of U2. Then you can take C inside. Your C is minus 1. So that this becomes plus T of minus U2. Now, because your T is linear, this is of the form T of U1 plus T of U2. We can write that one as T of U1 plus U2. By that way, T of U1 plus T of minus U2 can be written as T of U1 plus minus U2 is equal to 0. Now you are having, remember your U1 is a vector in U and U2 is a vector in U and U is a abelian group because it's a vector space. Therefore minus U2 also is present in U. Therefore U1 plus minus U2 is present in U. And you are having image of an element of U is equal to 0. But we knew that any element which is having image 0 should come in N of T, because any element which is having image 0 comes in this. Therefore, your U1 plus minus U2 should come in N of T. But we know that N of T contains only 0 vector. Therefore, your U1 plus minus U2 should be equal to only 0. But this implies U1 equal to U2. So we have proved T of U1 is equal to T of U2 implies U1 equal to U2. That is, if any two images are equal, those two elements are also equal. Hence, T is 1, 1. And this completes the proof of the theorem. Now, let's move on to a definition. Suppose if T is a linear transformation from vector space U into vector space V, then the dimension of range space is called as a rank of a linear transformation T. Remember, what is meant by dimension? Dimension is nothing but number of elements in the basis. What is meant by basis? Basis is nothing but the collection of vectors which satisfies two conditions. One, that set of vectors is linearly independent. And the second condition is it spans the vector space. Spans means spans or generates. Spans or generate means you can write every vector of that vector space as linear combination of those basis vectors. So the dimension of range space is called as rank of the linear transformation and is denoted by R of T or simply R. Similarly, what is meant by nullity of a linear transformation? If T is a linear transformation, then the dimension of null space or kernel is called nullity of a linear transformation and is denoted by n of t or simply n. Now let us prove a theorem. Suppose if T is a linear transformation from one vector space U into another vector space V, and if U1, U2, etc. up to Un generates the domain, then we knew that their images T of U1, T of U2, etc. up to 2 of Un are present in V. But T of U1, T of U2, etc. up to 2 of T of Un generates the range space because these images are also present in R of T and they are not generating V. In fact, here in general they generate R of T. This need not be true in the case of V. That means your T of U1, T of U2, etc. up to T of Un need not generate V, but it always generates range space. So this theorem says if any vector which is any set of vector which is generating the domain, then the image of those generating vectors always generates range space. And if this mapping is onto, then obviously your codomain will be equal to R of T, then it generates codomain itself. That's why the image of the generating vectors of domain always generates range space. Let's prove this. Generates means spans. What is the meaning of spans R of T? So we have to show that every vector of R of T can be written as linear combination of this. Whenever this generates U, that means whenever every vector of this is a linear combination of this, then we have to show that every vector of R of T is linear combination of these vectors. If we prove this, then we are through. Now, let us assume there is a vector U in U, and we know that your U1, U2, etc. up to Un spans U. That means any vector in U can be expressed as a linear combination of these. Let us assume that U can be written as C1 into U1 plus C2 into U2, etc. up to Cn into Un. This is linear combination where C1, C2, etc. up to Cn are scalars. And we have written U like this because these are generating U. Now, you should note that if U1 is present in U, then obviously T of U1 is present in R of T. If U2 is present in U, because these are vectors in U, therefore their images are always present in range because range contains all the images. Now, to show that these generates R of T, we have to show that every element of R of T can be expressed as linear combination of these. So let us assume a vector in R of T. Say V is an element in R of T. Then we have to write V is equal to some scalar into T of U1 plus some scalar into T of U2 plus etc. up to some scalar into T of U1. If you prove this, then we are through. Now remember, if V is in R of T contains elements of the form T of some element where that element should come from domain. Therefore, since V is an element in this, there exists U in U such that image of U under the mapping T is V. That is T of U is equal to V. But remember, your U is nothing but this. Substitute this in this. Therefore, your V will be equal to T of C1 U1 plus C2 U2 etc. up to Cn Un. And remember, your T is a linear transformation. Since it is a linear transformation, I can write this one as C1 into T of U1 plus C2 into T of U2 etc. up to Cn into T of Un. So we have expressed V as linear combination of T of U1, T of U2, T of Un. This is linear combination of these vectors. Therefore, your V is generated by this. That means every element of R of T can be expressed as a linear combination of this. Therefore, these vectors generates R of t. This completes the proof. Now, let us move on to the important theorem, that is rank nullity theorem. What it says, suppose if T is a linear transformation from U to V and the domain is finite dimensional vector space, then we have to show that rank plus nullity is always equal to the dimension of domain. So R plus N is equal to dimension of U. Now you should note that they are given U is a finite dimensional vector space. So let us assume dimension of U is equal to some M. What is the meaning of this? We knew that if the dimension of U equal to M, then there exists a basis, because every finite dimensional vector space has a basis. So there exists a basis of U which contains M vectors, and they are linearly independent and spans U. Now you should note that your null space is always a subspace of U. Since null space is subspace of U, means null space is subset of U. And if this is finite, obviously this is also finite. So let us assume dimension of N of t is equal to N. That means there exists a basis for N of t which contains N vectors, and those vectors are linearly independent and spans N of t. Spans means every element of N of t can be written as linear combination of those N vectors. And you should note that since your N of t is subset of U and dimension of N of t is N and dimension of U is M, your N is always less than or equal to M. Let us assume U1, U2, etc. up to Un forms a basis of N of t. And you should note that since N of t is subset of U, your U1, U2, etc. up to Un is also belonging to U. And these are basis of N of t, means these are linearly independent. That means if you write this as C1 into U, linear combination, C1 into U1 plus C2 into U2, etc. up to Cn into Un is equal to 0, then all the scalars will be 0. C1 equal to 0, C2 equal to 0, etc. up to Cn equal to 0. That is what the condition, linearly independent. Same thing holds in U also. Therefore, because these vectors belongs to U also, therefore your U1, U2, etc. up to Un are linearly independent on U. But remember, these are N vectors and dimension of U is M. So there must be M vectors to become basis. There are only N vectors are there. And there is a theorem which says any set of linearly independent vectors can be extended to form a basis of vector space. Since these are linearly independent vectors, by adding some more vectors, so the total number of vectors becomes M, and that set becomes a basis of U. So let us add W1, W2, etc. up to Wk with U1, U2, etc. up to Un, so that they combine together becomes a basis of U. So how many, make this one as R, WR, so that W1, W2, etc. up to WR together with U1, U2, etc. up to UN becomes a basis of this. So in total, you should note that there should be M vectors, because the basis of U contains M elements. And here there are N U's are there and R W's are there. So N plus R should be in total is equal to M. That means dimension of U, that is M, should be equal to N plus R. But note that your N is the dimension of N of t. So your dimension of U is equal to dimension of N of t plus R, which is similar to this. So dimension of U is equal to dimension of N of t. Only thing, here we are having R, but here we are having dimension of R of t. So we have to show that dimension of R of t is equal to R. If you show this, then the theorem is proved. So we have to show that dimension of R of t is equal to R. That means there are R number of elements are there in the basis of R of t. So you know that your u1, u2, etc. up to un, w1, w2, etc. up to wr are vectors of u. Therefore, their images t of u1, t of u2, etc. up to t of un, t of w1, etc. up to t of wr are always present in R of t. And remember, these vectors are present in U, and they form a basis. That means they generate U. Therefore, their image should always generate R of t by the above theorem. By this theorem, any set of vectors which generate domain, their image should generate R of t, range space. So, since U1, U2, etc. up to UN, W1, W2, etc. up to WR generates domain, their image should generate R of t. Therefore, these vectors spans R of t. But remember, here your U1, U2, etc. up to UN is a basis of N of t. And therefore, they are all present in N of t. And you should note that any element which belongs to N of t satisfies the condition image of that element is 0. Therefore, t of u1, t of u2, etc. up to t of un are 0. Therefore, these are all 0. So, no need to consider them. Just consider t of w1, t of w2, etc. up to t of wr. And how many vectors are here? R vectors are there. So, t of w1, t of w2, etc. up to t of wr belongs to R of t, spans R of t by the above theorem. So, the first condition of basis is satisfied. Only thing we have to show that that set is linearly independent. That is t of w1, t of w2, etc. up to t of wr. If their linear combination is equal to 0, then all the scalars must be equal to 0. Okay, let us assume that the linear combination C1 t of w1 plus C2 t of w2, etc. up to Cr t of wr is equal to 0, where scalars are coming from field F. But remember, your t is linear. Therefore, I can write this one as t of C1 w1 plus C2 w2, etc. up to Ck Cr wr. This is r, not k. Cr wr must be equal to 0. So, we are getting image of an element is equal to 0. And we know that any element whose image is 0 should come in N of t. Therefore, this element comes in N of t. So, this is one element. If you add all of this, that becomes one element of N of t. And you should note that your u1, u2, etc. up to un is a basis of N of t. What is the meaning of basis? It spans N of t. That means any element of N of t can be written as linear combination of this. And this is one element of N of t. Therefore, this element can also be written as linear combination of this. And let us assume that this element is equal to linear combination d1 u1 plus d2 u2, etc. up to dn un. Now, send all of these two to this side. That becomes this. So that this becomes a linear combination of u1, u2, etc. up to un plus w1, w2, etc. up to wr is equal to 0. Remember, we knew that our u1, u2, etc. up to un, w1, w2, etc. up to wr is a basis of u. That means this set is linearly independent. What is the meaning of it is linearly independent? Any linear combination of these vectors is equal to 0 implies all those scalars are equal to 0. Then this is a linear combination of all those vectors is equal to 0. Therefore, all the scalars must be equal to 0 from the definition of the basis. Therefore, your minus d1, minus d2, etc. up to minus dn, c1, c2, etc. up to c are equal to 0. So, we have started with linear combination of t of w1, t of w2, etc. up to t of wr equal to 0, and we have proved c1, c2, etc. up to c are equal to 0. So, their linear combination equal to 0 implies all the scalars are equal to 0, implies that this set of vectors, that is this set, is linearly independent. So, we have proved this set is linearly independent and spans. So, both the conditions of basis are satisfied, hence this set forms a basis of R of t. But how many vectors are here? R vectors. Therefore, dimension of R of t is R. And we knew that dimension of U is equal to n plus R. We have written in the earlier result. So this is equal to dimension of n of t. But we have proved R is nothing but dimension of R of t. Therefore, dimension of domain is equal to dimension of null space plus dimension of range space. That is, rank plus nullity is equal to dimension of the domain. This completes rank nullity theorem. Now let us see some problems on this. First one is verify rank nullity theorem for the linear transformation T from V3R to V3R defined by T of order triplet XYZ equal to order triplet X plus Y, X minus Y, 2X plus Z for all ordered 3 tuple XYZ belongs to V3R. Now you should note that V3R is nothing but collection of all ordered triplets or ordered 3 tuple where each of these XYZ are real numbers. Now, if you want to verify rank nullity theorem, we should know null space, range space, dimension of null space, dimension of range space. Then we can verify. And you should note that this is V3R. And we knew the standard basis of V3R, which is order triplet 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, and order triplet 0, 0, 1. Therefore, the dimension of V3R is 3. So we have to show that rank plus nullity is equal to 3. Let us find out what is null space. What is null space? Null space contains the domain elements. What is domain? V3R. V3R contains elements of the form order triplet XYZ, whose image is 0 element of codomain. But remember, 0 element of V3R is order triplet 0, 0, 0. So if you have written 0, it implies that it is of the form order triplet 0, 0, 0. Now, so your n of t contains these elements, order triplet XYZ. But we know that what is the image of XYZ? It is order triplet this. Substitute it. And we knew any two order triplets are equal provided corresponding elements are equal. That is, x plus y is equal to 0, x minus y is equal to 0, 2x plus z is equal to 0. Now from this, if you solve these two, your y get cancels. If you add these two, your y gets cancelled. Simply you will get x plus x, that is 2x equal to 0. That implies x equal to 0. If you substitute x equal to 0 here, you will get y equal to 0. So x equal to 0, y equal to 0. Now substitute x equal to 0 here. So your z is also equal to 0. That means x, y, z can take only value 0. So if you take any order triplet, for all those elements, all the 3 coordinates will be equal to 0. So it contains only 0 vector. So your null space contains only 0 vector. And for generating 0 vector, you don't need any element in the basis. Because what is the definition of basis? The set, alpha 1, alpha 2, etc. up to alpha n is said to be a basis provided it is linearly independent and spans. What is the definition of linearly independent? The linear combination C1 alpha 1 plus C2 alpha 2 etc. up to Cn alpha n is equal to 0 implies C1, C2 etc. up to Cn equal to 0. Remember, here in your n of t, it contains only 0 vector. So you don't need any vector in the basis to generate this, because already it is 0. That's why the basis of dimension, the basis of n of t is empty set. Therefore, dimension of n of t is 0. That means null space is 0. Now, what is the range? We know that range set is collection of all images where this element should come from domain. And your domain is V3R, and any element of V3R is order triplet. Therefore, this contains image of order triplets. But they are given T of order triplet XYZ is this, where x, y, z are coming from R. Now, can I write this one as x plus y plus 0z and x minus y plus 0z, 2x plus 0y plus z, because these terms are missing. Now you separate this order triplet into 3 separate order triplets, so that here the real number which is associated with x is, coefficient of x is 1, and here coefficient of x is 1, and here coefficient of x is 2. If you multiply this, then you will get x, 2x, and here coefficient of y is 1, coefficient of y is minus 1, coefficient of y is 0. If you multiply this, y minus y, 0. Then here coefficient of z is 0, coefficient of z is 0, coefficient of z is 1. Multiply this. If you multiply and add this, you will get this again. So we have written this as a linear combination of vector order triplet 1, 1, 2, 1 minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So any element of R of t is a linear combination of these 3 vectors. This is of the form C1 into this, let us say U1, plus C2 into U2, plus C3 into U3, where C1, C2, C3 are coming from field R. So any element is a linear combination of this. So this is these 3 sets are spanning this. But is that a basis? Yes. We can transform this into a basis, because there is a theorem which says the non-zero rows of a row-reduced echelon matrix forms a basis of the subspace spanned by the rows of the given matrix A. So you should note that the elements of R of t are spanned by 1, 1, 2, 1 minus order triplet 1, 1, 2, 1 minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So these 3 vectors are spanning, and let's write them as row of A. That is 1, 1, 2, 1 minus 1, 0, 0, 0, 1. So the rows of this matrix is spanning R of t. Now find the row reduced echelon matrix of this. Then the non-zero rows of that row reduced echelon matrix forms the subspace basis of this subspace. So what is row reduced echelon matrix? The echelon matrix is the one whose leading non-zero leading coefficient, leading entry must be 1, and below that 1 you should have 0. This should this condition has to be satisfied for all the rows. Here the leading entry is 1, which is non-zero, so no need to do anything for row 1. Let's keep that one as it is. And below that we are having 1, but we have to make this one as 0. How to make this? Now let's consider row 1 minus row 2 and replace it in row 2. So 1 minus 1 becomes 0. So 1 minus 1, 0. 1 minus of minus 1 is 2. 2 minus 0 is 2. And we are making no change in row 1 and row 3. So they will remain as it is. Now this is a row reduced. And go for second row. Here the leading non-zero entry is 2. We have to make this one as 1. So divide row 2 by 2 or multiply row 2 by half. So half into 0, 0, half into 2 is 1, half into 2 is 1. So this row becomes 0, 1, 1. Now we are having the row reduced echelon matrix. How many non-zero rows are there? 3 non-zero rows are there. So as the row is said to be non-zero, provided at least one of the entry in that row is non-zero. So here at least one entry is non-zero, here 2 entry, here all 3 are non-zero. Therefore, there are 3 non-zero rows are there. The first row is 1, 1, 2, second row is 0, 1, 1, and the third one is 0, 0, 1. And they form non-zero rows forms a basis of that subspace R of t. So you are 1, 1, 2, order triplet 1, 1, 2, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1 forms the basis of R of t. Therefore, dimension of R of t is 3. And what is the dimension of domain? We have already discussed it is 3, and 3 can be written as 0 plus 3, and 0 is the dimension of null space and 3 is the dimension of range space. So we have proved dimension of domain is equal to dimension of null space plus dimension of range space, and this is rank nullity theorem. Now find the we'll move on to the next problem, that is find the kernel, range, rank and nullity of a linear transformation T from this to this, V3R to V4R. So this is collection of all ordered 3 tuple and this is collection of all ordered 4 tuple. And they are defining the image by, they are not given general image, they are given image of particular elements, that is T of 1 0 0 equal to this, T of 0 1 0 equal to this, T of 0 0 1 equal to this. In fact, you should see that these elements are coming from domain and they are standard basis elements. Now let us first find out what is the general image. Suppose order triplet XYZ is any element of V3R, then image of that XYZ can be written as, we can write this order triplet XYZ as x into 1 0 0 plus y into 0 1 0 plus z into 0 0 1. If you multiply this, then you'll get x into 1 x 0 0, y into 0 0, y into 1 y 0, z into this, z into this, z into this. If you add them, you'll get order triplet XYZ itself. Now because your T is linear, this is of the form C1 U1 plus C2 U2 plus C3 U3, and you know that you can take out scalar outside. So I can write this as x into T of 1 0 0 plus y into T of 0 1 0 plus z into T of 0 0 1. But they are given what is image of 1 0 0, substitute it, image of this, and multiply and add up. You'll get image of XYZ is this. This is true for all order triplet XYZ coming from V3R. Now let us find out what is kernel. We knew that kernel contains domain elements, those domain elements whose image is 0. But remember, this has to be ordered 4 tuple, not 0, simply ordered triplet. 0 is a element of V4R. V4R contains ordered 4 tuple. This is ordered 4 tuple 0 0 0 0. Now what is your T of XYZ? We have proved this. Substitute this, and we know that any two ordered 4 tuples are equal if corresponding elements are equal. That is 0 equal to 0, x plus y plus z equal to 0, y minus z equal to 0, and 2x plus 4z equal to 0. Now see here, from this second equation your y is nothing but z, and from the third one your 2x equal to minus 4z or x equal to minus 2z. So here your y equal to z and your x equal to minus 2z, then your z will be simply z. That is what they think that you can do. Now your y equal to z and x equal to minus 2z and z equal to z. Substitute this in this, then you'll get your x is minus 2z, your y is z, and z is z only. And you should note that x, y, z are coming from R. Therefore, here z is the only variable. Therefore, z comes from R. And can we take out z outside? Yes, we can. So, z into order triplet minus 2, 1, 1, where z is an element in R. This is fixed vector. So, we have written every element of n of t as a combination of, linear combination of scalar into a vector. So this vector minus 2 1 1 generates n of t, every element of n of t. This is what. So we have proved every element of n of t is spanned by the vector minus 2 1 1. Hence this forms a basis. So how many vectors are there in the basis? Only one vector, minus 2 1 1. Therefore dimension of n of t is 1. Or nullity is 1. Now let us find out range. What is range? It is collection of all images of those elements which are coming from domain. So T of xyz, and we knew what is T of xyz, substitute it, and you should note that your xyz is coming from R, and we knew that we can write 0 as 0x plus 0y plus 0z. Similarly, this contains all three terms, no problem with that. And here x is missing, I'll add up 0x, and here y is missing, I'll add up 0y. And here coefficient of x is 0, coefficient of x is 1, coefficient of x is 0, coefficient of x is 2. So I can write x into this plus y into coefficient of y, write down, plus z into coefficient of z. If you multiply this, you'll get again this. And you know that we have written every element of R of t as linear combination of these three vectors. So that means R of t is spanned by these vectors. But will they form a basis? Let's see. We knew that there is a theorem which says that if these vectors are the rows of a matrix A, then the non-zero rows of row reduced echelon matrix of this becomes a basis of R of t. Because this may not be, this is spanning, but this may not be linearly independent. So for verifying that condition, we are using this. Now we have written these as rows of a matrix A. Now reduce it to row reduced echelon matrix. How? You should note that the leading non-zero entry in every row must be 1, and below that you should have 0. Now let's see the first row. Here the leading non-zero entry is this, which is 1. So no problem with that. We'll keep this row as it is, 0, 1, 0, 2. But below that 1, you should have only zeros. So let's make these two as 0. How? If you subtract these two, then that becomes 0. So I'll write R2, that is row 2, as row 2 minus row 1, and row 3 as row 1 minus row 3, just to avoid a negative integers. Now your row 1 remains same, we are making no change. In row 2 minus row 1, that is 0 minus 0, 0, 1 minus 1, 0, 1 minus 0, 1, 0 minus 2, minus 2. And row 3 is row 1 minus row 3. 0 minus 0, 0, 1 minus 1, 0, minus 1, 0 minus 1, 1, 2 minus 4, that is minus 2. R1 minus R3. This is 0 minus 0, 1 minus 1, 0 minus of minus 1, 2 minus 4. Now we have made the first row as a leading entry, non-zero entry as 1, and below that 0. Now let's move on to second row. Here the leading non-zero entry is 1, and below that we should have 0. So we have to make this entry as 0. How to make it? We have to use row 2 only. Here 1 is there, here also 1 is there. I'll subtract this. So your R3 is R2 minus R3. Row 1, row 2 remain same. Row 3 is 0 minus 0, 0 minus 0, 1 minus 1 is 0, minus 2 of minus 2, minus 2 of minus 2, which is plus 2. So minus 2 plus 2 is 0. So this is row reduced echelon matrix. How many non-zero rows are there? Only 2 non-zero rows are there. Therefore, these 2 non-zero rows forms the basis of R of t. Hence, dimension of R of t is 2. So dimension of null space is 1. Dimension of R of t is 2, which is equal to dimension of domain. That is dimension of V3R. That is your rank nullity theorem. Now the next question is, find the linear transformation T from R3 to R3 whose range space is spanned by these two vectors. So we have to find the linear transformation. And you should note that R3 is nothing but a collection of all ordered triplets x, y, z, where x, y, z are real numbers. Now, we have to, if you have to find linear transformation, means you have to find the general image. But let us define the mapping, because you know that the basis elements of R3 contains 3 elements. And let us consider the standard basis elements. What are the standard basis elements of R3? It is one order triplet 1 0 0, order triplet 0 1 0, and order triplet 0 0 1. And we knew there is a theorem which says the vectors which generates domain, their images generates range space. So image of 1 0 0, that is T of 1 0 0, T of 0 1 0, and T of 0 0 1 must generate range space. But they are given range space is generated by only two vectors. Then one of the vector must be 0 vector. So that's why we are assuming image of 1 0 0 is one of them, and image of 0 1 0 is one of them, and image of one vector is 0. You can make any one of them as 0. Only two vectors are non-zeros, because these two non-zero vectors are spanning a range space. That is what. So because of that theorem we are writing. Now we have to find the general image. So let us consider element order triplet xyz from R3. Then we have to find T of xyz. But we know that we can write order triplet xyz as x into order triplet 1 0 0 plus y into 0 1 0 plus z into this. If you multiply and add, you will get only this. And since T is linear, this is of the form C1 into U1 plus C2 into U2 plus C3 into U3. And then we can take out scalar outside. So this becomes x into T of 1 0 0 plus y into T of 0 1 0 plus z into T of 0 0 1. But we knew what is T of 1 0 0. This is what? T of 0 1 0. This is z into 0. Multiply and add, you'll get this. So we have proved that the required linear transformation is a mapping from R3 to R3 defined by this image. This completes the solution. So I'd given two more problems. You just work it out and learn rank nullity theorem. Thank you.